Welcome, welcome again to the sixth part. So last time we were on this slide and we have seen that in this case the required NPSH is lesser than the available NPSH, and hence in this case in this particular setup there is no problem of cavitation. We can avoid the problem of cavitation. Now come to this part of the figure. Here again you can see this much is the head available, the atmospheric head plus positive head. In this figure, I will again remember you that we have considered that a positive head is acting on the suction side of the impeller, and we are spending the energy on pike for friction, and we don't want to cross the limit of vapor pressure. So this much is the loss of head, maybe in friction and the velocity head and the suction lift, etc. This much is the vapor pressure head. So this much head, net positive suction head, is available. We have this much total head, out of which we are spending this much. So this much positive head is available. But the pump requirement is of this much head. So net positive suction head required is this much, which is more than available. That's why in this situation, cavitation will occur. Now see again here. This is the suction pipe, this is the eye of the impeller, and this is the exit of the impeller, and it is going to the delivery pipe. Or we have considered four points here: A, B, C, and D. So see, when water is sucked, the pressure at point A is shown here, suction pressure. So from point A to B, there is suction pressure, but it is going in downward direction. So the maximum suction pressure exists at point B, at the eye of an impeller. So here is the maximum suction pressure, or the maximum value below atmospheric pressure. So if this value goes beyond the vapor pressure, this is the fluid vapor pressure, then bubble formation takes place. We have already dealt with vapor pressure when we had a discussion on properties of fluid. So this is the pressure, minimum pressure, below which if we go, then the water starts boiling, or the vapors starts evolving out of the water. So it is the vapor pressure. So here the suction pressure is going beyond the vapor pressure, and that's why bubbles will come out and it will go along with the main body into the delivery pipe. Therefore, in such situation, the problem of cavitation may occur. Again, come to the same point, we have comparison here. So here you can see, again, there is a suction pressure, but the maximum suction pressure is well above the vapor pressure. And actually this gap is nothing but the net positive suction head. So here there is a positive difference. So the minimum pressure that exists, minimum means negative pressure, of course. The minimum pressure that exists at the eye of an impeller is well above the vapor pressure. That's why there is no possibility of formation of bubbles and hence the cavitation. So we want to maintain this kind of graph while working on the centrifugal pump. Otherwise, if the suction pressure goes beyond the vapor pressure, then cavitation may occur. This graph shows that we need to be in this region. If we cross this region, if we go beyond this point, then we land up in the region of cavitation. As you can see here, this graph indicates NPSH available, which is a system dependent parameter, and this is NPSH required. It is provided by the manufacturer. So manufacturer gives in its catalog the NPSH required for that pump, and depending on the site where we are going to install this pump, the NPSH available can be calculated, and as I have stated earlier, NPSH available should always be more than NPSH required. After this point, you can see the NPSH required is more and available is lesser, so cavitation will take place. Now, what is cavitation? While pumping water, if pressure at any point inside the pump drops below vapor pressure corresponding to temperature of liquid. Temperature is again yet another important parameter here. So if it drops below the vapor pressure corresponding to the temperature of liquid, the liquid will vaporize and form cavities of vapor. The bubbles of vapor are carried to high pressure region where they collapse with tremendous shock on adjacent wall. This phenomenon is called as cavitation. Cavitation, in other words, is formation of cavity. Now again, see with this picture, this is the suction side. So if pressure goes beyond the vapor pressure, then such air bubbles forms. These air bubbles gets carried away with this stream of water. And suppose it from here the pressure goes on increasing slightly. So if these small pressure vapor bubbles, they are carried away to high pressure region, then they collapse. That collapse causes a blow on the surrounding material, and the material is removed due to erosion. So if this phenomenon continues to occur, then we will find very small pits or cavities on the surface of the material. That is nothing but cavitation. See again here another picture. These bubbles are getting formed here only if the suction pressure goes below the vapor pressure. So this bubble grows in size. Here you can see they are maximum in size because the suction pressure is maximum here at the eye of the impeller. Those bubbles gets carried away along with the stream of water. Then at certain high pressure region, these bubbles collapse. The bubbles ultimately implode due to the increasing pressure, and this causes removal of the material. So this phenomena, as you can see here, can take place majorly on the blades of the impeller, or maybe the walls of the casing, some portion of the delivery pipe, and even some portion of the suction pipe. What are the effects of cavitation? It causes mechanical destruction or erosion of material of pipe or pumping unit. There is accompanying noise varying from low rumbling to loud knocks, and the resultant heavy vibration of the pumping units. So vibration is another sign that tells you that cavitation may be occurring. So it gives you the hint. Also, the energy required to accelerate the flow of water to fill the hollow spaces results in loss of power. So efficiency also drops down. And it may also lead to premature failure of the parts of the pump like casing or impeller. These pictures very well shows the effect of cavitation. See how the material is removed here. Small pits are formed on the surface of the impeller. See here, blade is completely devastated. So these are the very deleterious effects of cavitation. Therefore, we must take care to avoid cavitation. So we have to take two important cares. First, we should prime the pump thoroughly, properly. Then only we will get proper discharge. And secondly, we should not allow pressure to fall below vapor pressure at any section of the impeller, suction pipe or casing. So how to prevent cavitation? As far as possible, suction velocity should be low, because suction velocity adds to the total negative pressure below atmospheric. So you should minimize the total of HS, HFS and V1 square by 2G. So V1 means suction velocity here. So as far as possible, suction velocity should be kept low. The sharp bend should be avoided. To keep down vapor pressure, the temperature of the liquid should be as low as possible, because with the increase in temperature, the vapor pressure also increases, and that's why the possibility of cavitation also increases. So we should not allow the temperature to increase. There should be sufficient number of vanes for impeller to guide the water properly to reduce the turbulence. So again, we need to minimize the losses, so that can be done by properly designing the flow of water through the impeller. Otherwise, those turbulence may increase the losses. Also, we can select proper material in order to avoid the loss of material, the early loss of material. So we should select material who are having high cavitation resistance or erosion resistance. For example, here this table shows the material cavitation life factor. Some life factor is shown by this arbitrary number. Nickel, aluminum, bronze 8, titanium 6, bronze 4, and so on. And lower on the list there is mild steel, which is 1. It will not be visible in your screen. So below brass it is mild steel and the factor is 1. So thank you very much. We will try to cover some other portions in next session. Multi-stage pump, then the submersible pump and the jet pump. So to summarize, we must fill the suction pipe, the impeller and casing, and the portion up to the delivery valve with water in order to drive the air pockets away. We should not leave any air pocket in this region. Density of air is lesser, therefore it is not sufficient to create a suction head due to which water can be lifted. So it is replaced by water or any liquid which is to be pumped. So we can fill these parts by water either manually or by utilizing some vacuum pump or ejector or something like this, or we can have self-primed pump which stores some quantity of water inside it even if the pump is shut off, and next time this same water quantity is used to prime the pump. So we need not prime it externally. So those are called as self-priming pump. And then we have also seen that the total suction head should not go beyond the vapor pressure limit. Otherwise, the vaporization will start, bubbles will evolve. Those small pressure bubbles will collapse somewhere whenever they are carried to high pressure region. That collapsing of bubbles creates a very high pressure wave there, and material part is removed, so which tends to formation of cavity on the material surface, and hence the phenomenon is called as cavitation. So in order to avoid the cavitation, we should not allow the maximum negative pressure to go beyond vapor pressure. So whatever things which add into the total suction pressure, like velocity, losses, and suction lift, should be properly controlled. And the available NPSH should always be greater than the required NPSH. So with this, we will stop here, and next time we will go with multi-stage pump, submersible pump, and jet pump. Thank you. Happy learning.